Welcome back, everyone, to NFL Talking Points. I am your host, Joseph Gardner, today going over Week 14 Power Rankings. I can't do this without my good buddy, Matthew Arscott of the Matthew Arscott Sports Show. Matthew, how are you doing today?
Great. We are three-quarters of the way through the season, the regular season, I should say, and it's starting to get at least we thought we were starting to get a good grip on things, but doesn't seem that way after this last week, huh?
Absolutely, yeah, crazy week, and especially compared to the last 2 weeks, it feels like we were just getting settled in, figuring out what everything was going on, and nope, that is not the case. I'm going to share my screen here so that we can see, and our wonderful audience can also see our rankings. I'm just going to go through our combined rankings for our audio listeners, but for the people watching, you've got your post-game win expectancy on the left. My rankings, our combined rankings, Matthew's rankings. I forgot to change the numbers on this, so forgive me for that for the weeks, but everything in the actual rankings correct. And then the standings as they are record-wise, with stars letting you know what playoff teams, which teams are playoff teams, and in our combined rankings, the stars will signify which teams we have the exact same spot on. Last week we had 9 matches. This week we only have 6. So matches go down to be expected based off of this week. For our audio listeners, I'm going to go through our combined rankings. Tier 1, Patriots up 1 spot to number 1. Rams down 1 spot to number 2. Seahawks up 1 to 3. Broncos down 1 to 4. Bills up 3 to 5. Bears up 5 to 6. Packers up 5 to 7. And the Eagles down 2 to 8. Tons of big changes in this section. Matthew, what do you got on this?
Yeah, you know what? Patriots are going up to number one, and at this point in time, it's really hard to argue why wouldn't you put them best record right now in the league. Drake May second in passing, 3,412 yards. This team is absolutely just firing on all cylinders. They look good. Everybody else drops, Colts drop a little bit, Rams drop a little bit due to their losses. Justifiable close losses, but and then Bears and Packers moving up. NFC North, I think, is a lot more dangerous than we realized there in the NFC hunt. I don't think it's going to be just the Eagles this year going into the playoffs. This entire first tier is still a bunch of dangerous teams, even though a few of them lost this last week. A lot of underdogs in week 14 walking away, or week 13, I should say, walking away with wins. But I think this top tier, dangerous. Broncos are dangerous. Seahawks are dangerous. But I love that the Patriots are up top. I mean, I don't necessarily love that as a Colts fan, but I'm very confident in where they're at.
Yeah. In this tier, you and I both have the Bills moving up 3 spots. We both have the Packers moving up 5. We both have the Bears moving up 4. We both have the Colts moving down 4, who we'll get to. We had a lot of the same amount of movement, but we both also had these teams ranked differently last week.
Right.
The Bills are still 2 higher than for me than they are for you. The Packers higher for me than you. You've got the Bears all the way up at 5. I got the Bears at 8. But for the most part, you and I kind of moved all the teams up the same amount and down the same amount for pretty much everyone in this tier. So
Yep.
I can't be too upset about anything that you've done here. So, okay, let's move on to tier 2. 49ers up 4 spots to number 9. Colts down to 10. Down 5 spots. You and I both had the Colts down 4, but because of the way that it averages out, even though both you and I have the Colts at 9, they actually end up at 10. The Lions down 1 to 11. Jaguars up 2 to 12. Ravens down 4 to 13. Chiefs down 7 to 14. Chargers stay where they're at 15. And Texans up into tier 2 at 16. I've got to ask you, Matthew, Chiefs, you had the Chiefs coming down 10 spots this week. From number 7, top-ranked team, to a tier 3 team. You've got them down at 17. What is the reasoning for that?
Yeah, you know what? This is the Chiefs are going to move down after their loss to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. I get it's a Thanksgiving Day game. The Cowboys do their thing on Thanksgiving Day every few years. Good for them. Uh, Cowboys are 6-5-1. The Chiefs are 6-6. Very similar records. I looked at the Cowboys at a lot lower of a scale than I did the Chiefs, and they beat the Chiefs, even if it was only by three. Um, the inconsistency that I've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs this year, the fact that they're 500, even though they're healthy again, they're losing to teams that I think are kind of mid. That's a number one reason that I bumped them down here. But not just that, I have to also say a lot of these teams that were moving up, it was really hard to justify keeping a really good team that would win, that won this last week, such as the say like the Jaguars or I don't want to bump the Colts below the Chiefs. I don't want to bump the Lions below the Chiefs, even though all those teams lost this last week.
Right.
And so having to kind of move the Chiefs down as far as I did just justified everything else that happened around. So yeah, Chiefs moved down a lot. I mean, in a perfect world, maybe I would have tied them up a little bit higher, but no, I think I'm comfortable with where they're at, and I think that they're actually going to continue to be mid into the next weeks, which means that they'll probably slaughter whoever they play here in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah. And the other big mover in this one, Ravens down 4. You got them down 6. You had them at number 8 last week. I've got the Ravens down 3. I think both of us have the same reasonings for that, more or less. This is a Bengals defense that has looked terrible all year, historically terrible defense,
Mhm.
and they were able to get 5 turnovers and just make the Ravens offense look completely inept with Lamar Jackson out there. It just doesn't look good. Um, I guess the biggest thing for me in this section, I've got the 49ers up 6 spots, up to number 7. I just think that they're on a roll. They've got their
Mhm.
pieces back. George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, like all these guys are getting healthy on the offense, and it's just outstanding. And Robert Sala is coaching this defense really well, and they've made a jump for me. So I've got 3 NFC West teams, 2 NFC North teams, all in the top 8. um, and then lastly in this one, Chargers stay where they're at 17 for me. Chargers are up to 13 for you. They just stayed where they're at for me because they beat the Raiders, who I think is the worst team in the league. And I don't blame you for putting the Chargers up too either. And just to give the audio listeners some context for Matthew's rankings, he's got the Chiefs down 10, but he's got the Texans up 1, the Cowboys up 1, the Chargers up 2, Jaguars up 2, 49ers up 2. Like, all of these teams, in order to raise them, had to have the Chiefs drop lower than
Right.
that. So,
Mhm.
like,
100%. Yeah. You even justified it better than I was trying to justify it. I mean, that's the Chiefs moving down so much is less about the Chiefs moving down 10. I mean, the Chiefs needed to move down a few spots. I think the Cowboys are a mid team and they lose to a mid team. Then, yeah, Chiefs are going to move down at least, 6, 7 spots. But as you said, I mean, everybody else that deserves, in my opinion, to move up, even the Chargers. I know that they beat like a really bad Raiders team, but the Chargers deserve to move up. Niners, Texans had a good win over the good Colts team. It just justifies that the Chiefs are going to drop so low. When the Chiefs slaughter whoever they're going to play next week, I was going to look at that. They'll move
yeah,
back up for me. Uh, they
fair enough.
have the Texans coming up, right? It's actually
Actually,
going to be
Texans at 16, Chiefs at 17 for you. We've got the Texans at 16. That'll be a good matchup.
Sunday Night Football. That's going to be great.
Awesome, awesome game. Okay, moving on to tier 3, we've got the Cowboys up to 17, up 2 spots. Buccaneers down 2 to 18. Panthers up 1 to 19. Both you and I have the Buccaneers and the Panthers, both 18 and 19 in the same spot. Steelers down 3 to 20. Bengals up 6 to 21 off of their Joe Burrow return.
Mhm.
Defense getting 5 turnovers. Excuse me. Dolphins up 1 to 22. Falcons down 2 to 23. And the Vikings down 2 to 24. Both of you and I had the Falcons at 24, but the Vikings were just bad enough to make their way to below the Falcons because the Falcons were higher last week and they tied this week in rankings. Biggest thing for me I'm seeing here, I had the Bengals up 7.
Mhm.
That was my biggest move of the week. You had the Bengals up 5.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty self-explanatory for this. I mean, Bengals just look so much better with Joe Burrow.
Oh my gosh, Joe Burrow. I mean, talk about no wonder this guy's MVP caliber. Right? We talk about what is the definition of an MVP, most valuable player for that team. A lot of times people just get the MVP for being the best player on the best team. I think Joe Burrow is a very deserving candidate, the MVP for another definition. That's just he's the most valuable player to this team. Look at how well this Bengals offense has performed under him just this last week against this solid. I mean, Ravens defense hasn't been anything too special this season. We definitely know that, but also, I mean, it's a big what if, man. What if this Bengals team had been operating under Joe Burrow this entire year? I don't even know if this AFC North division would be anything to argue over. I mean, this just might be the Bengals division in that sense. No wonder you have them up seven, I have them up five. That's why our combined ranking puts them up six. This Joe Burrow Bengals team going to be a real big. I don't think they're going to have enough oomph to get back into the playoffs, even though statistically they're not eliminated just yet. But really, really night and day difference. Just having you know, uh, Joe out on the field.
Absolutely. And you've got the Bengals up 5 spots. I've got them up 7, but you've still got them 2 spots higher than me at 20. I've got them down at 22 still. So
Yeah,
even with my massive push, I'm still behind you on the Bengals. The
it's
biggest one
funny.
for me, the one that I didn't get, I put the Vikings down 3 spots. The team just looked horrendous this last
Oh
week.
yeah.
You kept the Vikings at 23. Is it just because there's just too much other bad teams below them? You can't really drop them?
100%, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, if we just kind of take a look at like the Falcons, to me have not been a consistent team. There's no way I can justify putting them over the Vikings, especially after I know it was a last second field goal, but a loss to the Jets there. Cardinals are a horrible team for me. They have to go below the Vikings. Saints, Commanders, everybody else just is ickier to me than the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings had that insane defensive outing. They've had glimpses of hope this season. They have some of the players that get it done. So the Vikings for me aren't necessarily a tier four team, but they're not a very good tier three team either. But I do have to ask you real quick. I noticed that you're kind of dropping the Steelers down 5 spots this week. Steelers had a really horrible loss, we could say, this last week to the Bills, 26-7. Are you kind of hopping on the train with me a little bit that the Steelers' journey might just be to an end here at the end of the season?
Yeah. Looking at my rankings, the two biggest drops for me,
Mhm.
or two of the biggest drops for me, were the Bucks and the Steelers. The Bucks, I dropped 4 spots after their win over the Cardinals, but I dropped it to them to match with your spot where you've got the Bucks, and the
Right.
Steelers are now just 1 spot above where you got the Steelers. I just think in weeks previous I didn't have them quite low enough, and maybe this week
Yeah.
wasn't didn't uh, this week wasn't the reason that the Steelers dropped 5. It's probably just
Mhm.
because I didn't have them low enough before now,
Sure.
and they probably should have been like a 2 or 3 spot drop this week. Like you've got the Steelers dropping 3. I just had them too high before. Same with the Bucks. You've got the Bucks up 1 spot off of a win. I've got them down 4 because I just think I had the Bucks a little bit too high. You can't play the Cardinals that close. 2 turnovers. I mean, the Cardinals had a missed field goal and 2 turnovers and still only lost by 3 points. I mean,
Yeah.
too close of a game for the Bucks for me. So,
Sure. Cardinals just find a way to lose, man. They say they made so many mistakes, they still only lose by three. Like if you could just clean up even two or three, just a few of those mistakes, which I mean you could be said for anything. But yeah, just not enough.
yeah, so many close games for the Cardinals where they just and I think that comes down to coaching, unfortunately, more often than not. It's when you're in close games like that, a lot of times it's the coaching that turns the tide. And if I am a Cardinals fan, I'm worried that the coaching is not where it needs to be.
Right.
Talking about the Cardinals, they fall at 25 in Tier 4, falling down 1 spot. You and I both have them at 26,
Hmm.
but because of the way we've got other teams ranked below them, they bump up a spot still. Down from 24 to 25. The Commanders down 1 spot to 26. Jets up 3 to 27 because of their win over the Falcons. Saints down 2 to 28. Giants stay where they're at 29. Browns at 30, down 1 spot. You and I both have the Browns at 29, but again, just weird combined ranking stuff. They fall to 30. Raiders at 31, Titans at 32. Few things in this one. I put the Commanders up 2 spots. based off of their game over the Broncos. I thought they played incredibly competitive without Jaden Daniels, who it looks like should be playing this week, surprisingly. I mean, looking at the injury that he suffered to his elbow, I would have thought he was out for the season, and he's already supposed to be back this Sunday, which is insane. But I think the Commanders put up a fight, so I bumped them a little bit there. And lastly, for this tier, for me, I dropped the Giants finally. They were sitting at 24 for so long. I had so much hope in this team. And Jackson Dart finally returns, and it looks just abysmal against this Patriots team. I picked the Giants to win this team kind of as a underdog kind of surprising thing. And of all of the underdogs that won this week, there were 8 underdogs that won this week. Of all of those, the Giants couldn't be it, so I had to drop them. Lastly, I did drop the Raiders down to number 32 in my rankings. I just think they're playing worse than the Titans right now, and I would not be shocked if the Titans get a win against the Browns this week. That wouldn't shock me. I think I'd be more shocked if the Raiders got a win over the Browns and the Titans got a win over the Browns right now. So for that reason, I dropped the Raiders to 32.
Yeah, and strength of schedule, I think the Raiders have a much tougher road ahead. So, I mean, dropping them to 32 might just be a good premonition towards what we might see as the number one overall pick in next year. I mean, let's look at the outlook of the Raiders schedule: Broncos, at Eagles, at Texans, and then sure at home against the Giants. That might be a little bit of a battle for that number one seed between Giants there and the Raiders. But then they end up with the Chiefs as well. Um, 4 really solid teams, one not too good team. So we'll see kind of how that game goes. But yeah, I like where you put the Raiders in this week. Jets, of course, bump up thanks to Nick Folk and his game go ahead field goal in the last few seconds. But yeah, the rest of these teams on the bottom we've talked about, they're all bad. Not much to say this week, but in the coming weeks, I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see how the number one overall pick for next year shapes up. And it'll be a little more exciting to talk about this tier 4 in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, Tier 4 should get exciting just because of draft position in the coming weeks.
100%.
It's kind of weird because tier 1 and 2 gets exciting because of playoff implications, and Tier 4 gets exciting because of draft implications. The tier you don't want to be in coming to the end of the season is in Tier 3,
100%.
and that's where a lot of teams find themselves in a really weird spot where it's like, we could make a push to the playoffs, but if we don't make the playoffs, it's worst case scenario because we now are not in the playoffs and we're
Yes.
probably firing coaches and losing players and all that. So
I'll end with this. Tier
go ahead.
3 is the tier that you don't want to be in as a fan that's a casual fan, right? Because if you're a diehard watching every game fan, Tier 3 is fine because if you're watching every game, you're going to have a couple of wins there. Now, if you're not watching every game, you're just kind of seeing what the score is, you know, then it's not going to be as fun, that your team wins a few games, doesn't make the playoffs, doesn't get the number one pick, right? Again, if you're watching every game, then great. You want your team to at least win 4 or 5 a year because you're dedicated. Now, for like the bandwagon teams or bandwagon fans on those teams in tier 3, not very fun because you don't win anything. You don't go to the playoffs. Your team's not very good. You're not watching your team, and when you do watch your team, it's probably not really turning out the way that you want it to, and you're not getting a good pick in the draft. So tier 3, kind of a bad place. Just even if you are a fan that watches every game, still not a great place to be.
I like the way you put that. Okay, lastly, playoffs. Right now, the Lions and Texans at 7-5, the Cowboys at 6-5-1, the Panthers at 6-6, Chiefs at 6-6, Steelers at 6-6, all don't make the playoffs. The Ravens at 6-6 make the playoffs, and the Buccaneers at 7-5 make the playoffs over the Lions and Texans. It's absolutely bonkers. The bottom of this AFC is all just teams just vying for wild card spots, and then the NFC South divisional winner is just whoever that is going to get into the playoffs, and the rest is pretty solidified. It feels like. I mean, you got everything else: Eagles, Chargers, Jaguars, Colts. The fact that you've got Colts and Jaguars playing each other this week, both would be in the playoffs at this point. Huge playoff implications all week this week. I mean, you've got like Packers, Bears, you've got Colts, Jaguars, you've got Lions, Cowboys, which just happened last night. I mean, there's so much this week that goes into this playoff picture. It's going to be a crazy week. Lastly, with post-game win expectancy rankings, One of the crazier weeks, the Lions, Colts, Falcons, and Rams all get losses this week. But according to post-game win expectancy should have been wins. Lions,
Hmm.
Colts, Falcons, Rams all should have won this week. And Packers, which means the Packers, Texans, Jets, and Panthers kind of stole one this week. As a
Totally.
Packers fan, that's not great to hear. But I thought the Packers played really well in
Totally.
that game. So I'm not too concerned about it. Um,
Sure.
Lastly, anything you want to talk about with playoffs or post-game win expectancy, Matthew?
Great. Yeah. I mean, a win is a win. That's the tough part of this is like,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel better as a Colts fan that like, okay, we should have won that. Maybe it was stolen from us. That field goal should have been a missed field goal. But like at the end of the day, it sucks. It doesn't matter, Like the Colts can't take the division. It seems like year after year. And this that, doesn't matter. And I'm not discrediting post game win expectancy because this is exactly what it does. It points out to us that like, yes, this team should have won, but really starting to get interesting for the playoffs on the teams that actually do put a tally in the win column.
Yeah, and that division got competitive so fast. I mean, just 3 weeks ago, I'm like the Colts are running away with this division, and now all of a sudden, Colts 8-4, Jaguars 8-4, Texans 7-5. I mean, this is if the Texans beat the Chiefs this week, the Colts could be third in that
Yeah.
division all of a sudden, and it's just absolutely nuts. So thank you, Matthew, as always, for joining NFL Talking Points. Anything you want to plug on the way out?
Matthew Arscott Sports Show, wherever you get your podcasts.
Love it. Thank you for joining us for Week 14 Power Rankings, and I will be back later next week to give you the review of everything that happened in Week 14, as well as a preview for everything you need to know coming into Week 15. As always, check Matthew out, Matthew R. Scott Sports Show, and make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know what you are looking forward to in this upcoming Week 14. So many playoff implications. And until next time, heed the call.